My beloved brothers and sisters, every new morning is not just a routine. It is a message from Allah that you have been given another chance. Another chance to change, to rise, to grow, to become the person you were meant to be. Some people wake up and immediately allow the world to control their mood, their phone, their messages, their worries, their problems. And some people wake up and take control. They start their morning with Allah, with gratitude, with purpose. And those are the people whose lives change. Because your morning decides your day. And your days decide your life. When you open your eyes in the morning, the very first moments hold a power that most people never recognize. The world around you is still quiet, your heart is still soft, and your mind has not yet been exposed to the noise of life. In that silence, in that early breath, lies one of the greatest opportunities Allah gives you every single day. The opportunity to begin your day with Him. The opportunity to place light at the beginning of your path so that everything that follows becomes easier, clearer, and more blessed. The moment you say, Alhamdulillah, after waking up, you are not just uttering a phrase, you are acknowledging a gift that millions did not receive this morning. You are admitting that the ability to breathe, to think, to move, to open your eyes is not your achievement, but a mercy from the one who controls your soul. When gratitude becomes your first thought of the day, your heart starts the day already full, already heavy with blessings instead of burdens. Gratitude brings calmness, and calmness brings clarity, and clarity brings direction. And then comes the greatest pillar of your morning, the Fajr prayer. Those 2 units of prayer may seem small, but they carry a light that can transform your entire day. When you stand before Allah in the early hours at a time when many are still asleep, you are showing your Creator that His call matters more to you than your comfort. And Allah never lets a sacrifice go unnoticed. The angels witness your prayer at Fajr, and the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, taught us that these prayers are recorded with a special honor. Imagine beginning your day, having your name mentioned among the angels, because you chose Allah before anything else. How can a day that begins with such a moment not be filled with blessings? Many people wake up and the first thing they touch is their phone. They scroll, they compare, they absorb negativity, they fill their mind with distractions before they have even spoken to their Lord. And then they wonder why their day feels heavy, unproductive, or empty. It is because energy follows intention. If the mind is filled with noise before it is filled with remembrance, the entire day becomes a battle. But when you begin with Allah, everything else becomes easier to handle. The challenges may still come, but they no longer break you. The problems may still appear, but they no longer overwhelm you. You will feel guided, protected, and supported by a strength beyond your own. There is a special calmness that descends upon a heart that prays Fajr. It is a calmness you cannot buy, cannot force, and cannot find anywhere else. It is a gift given only to the servants who begin their morning with the one who created the morning. When you raise your hands and ask Allah to guide your day, He guides it. When you ask Him to protect you, He surrounds you with His protection. When you ask Him to remove anxiety, He fills you with peace. When you ask Him to bless your time, He expands it in ways you cannot imagine. A morning started with dua becomes a day filled with divine support. And starting with Allah is not just about prayer. It's about directing your heart towards Him before anything else. It's about remembering that no matter what your plans are, no matter what your goals are, no matter what your schedule looks like, nothing will succeed unless His blessing is upon it. It is about placing your trust in Him before you place it in yourself. It is about letting your soul breathe the oxygen of spirituality before you let the world drain it. Even spending a few minutes after Fajr sitting quietly, making dhikr, reflecting on your blessings, or reading a single verse of the Quran can change the direction of your entire day. The Quran brings light to the eyes, healing to the heart, and wisdom to the mind. When your morning begins with that light, the day no longer feels dark. You feel guided in your decisions, patient in your struggles and hopeful in your journey. And the truth is simple. If you begin your day with Allah, you are beginning with the one who controls everything that will happen in that day. You are placing your trust in the one who knows the unseen, who can protect you from harm, who can increase your sustenance, who can strengthen your relationships, who can heal your wounds, who can lift your burden. There is no better way to start the day than by anchoring your heart to the one who never lets it fall. A morning that begins with Allah becomes a life that is guided by Allah. And a life guided by Allah is a life filled with peace, direction, and blessings that flow in ways you never expected. There is a moment in every morning where your mind is most open, most vulnerable, and most receptive. It is the moment after you wake up when your thoughts are still forming and your heart is still soft. That moment decides the direction of your day. Whatever enters your mind first becomes the tone, the energy, and the weight you carry for the next many hours. This is why protecting your mind in the morning is one of the greatest acts of self-care and one of the most underrated forms of worship. Most people do not realize how delicate the mind is in those early moments. The first things you see, hear, think, and feel leave a mark. If you open your eyes and immediately fill your mind with stress, arguments, notifications, or comparisons, you are handing your peace to things that were never meant to control you. The heart becomes restless, the mind becomes scattered, and before the day has even started, you feel overwhelmed. You haven't even stepped into the world, yet you're already tired from the weight of thoughts that were never yours to carry. But imagine a different beginning. Imagine waking up and choosing what your first thought will be. Imagine protecting your mind instead of exposing it. Imagine starting your day with reflection instead of distraction. When you build this habit, your entire inner world begins to transform. You begin to take responsibility for the energy you allow into your soul. You begin to understand that peace is not something you find. It is something you protect. The morning is like fresh soil. Whatever thought you plant first will grow the fastest. If you plant fear, the whole day becomes stressful. If you plant gratitude, the whole day feels lighter. If you plant anger, the whole day feels heavy. If you plant purpose, the whole day feels meaningful. Your mind is a garden, and the morning is when the seeds are the most powerful. You cannot expect to plant negativity and harvest peace. You cannot expect to feed your mind with chaos and expect clarity. What you allow in your morning becomes the foundation of your entire day. Protecting your mind also means choosing what not to expose yourself to. Not every message deserves your morning. Not every problem deserves your first thought. Not every person deserves immediate access to your peace. Many people fall into the trap of checking their phones the moment they wake up, not realizing that this single habit steals their calm, steals their focus, and steals the blessing of the morning. A video, a comment, a news headline, a notification, something small can shift your mood without your permission. And once your mood shifts, your whole day follows it. But something beautiful happens when you disconnect from the world and reconnect with yourself and your Creator. When you take a few quiet minutes to breathe, to think, to feel gratitude, to read even a line of Quran, your mind becomes stronger, clearer, more resilient. Instead of being controlled by your thoughts, you begin to control them. Instead of reacting to life, you begin to lead it. Instead of absorbing negativity, you begin to filter it. And this filtering, this choosing, this protecting, it is a form of ibadah. It is worship through discipline. It is worship through reflection. It is worship through valuing the mind Allah gave you. Your morning thoughts also shape your identity. If your first thoughts are negative, I can't do this, my life is hard, nothing will improve, then you live the day through the lens of hopelessness. But if your morning thoughts are hopeful, Allah is with me today, today is a new chance, I am capable with His help, then you walk into the world with strength. The world hasn't changed, you have. And when you change internally, everything externally feels lighter. Protecting your mind is not about pretending life has no challenges. It is about refusing to let those challenges take over your heart the moment you wake up. It is about deciding that your soul deserves a peaceful beginning. It is about acknowledging that clarity is a gift. and you must guard the door of your mind so only what benefits your soul is allowed to enter. In truth, your morning mindset is a mirror. It reflects the condition of your heart. It reveals your connection with Allah. It shows whether you live reactively or intentionally. When you begin your day with awareness, gratitude, reflection, and remembrance, you create a shield around your heart that protects you from the storms of the day. You cannot stop the challenges from coming, but you can strengthen the heart that will face them. The morning is not just a time, it is a test of what you prioritize, what you value, and what you allow to shape your inner world. And when you protect your mind in those first sacred moments, you protect your peace for the entire day. And a peaceful day, repeated enough times, becomes a peaceful life. There is a quiet truth about life that many people don't realize until much later. Your future is not built in one dramatic moment of success. It is built in the small decisions you make every single morning. The little habits, the tiny choices, the simple actions that seem insignificant, these are what shape the person you become. People often wait for big moments to change their lives. They wait for motivation, for inspiration, for a major event that will push them forward. But real growth doesn't come from sudden inspiration. It comes from consistent discipline. It comes from the small habits you build when nobody is watching, especially at the start of your day. One small habit can change how the entire day unfolds. Making your bed may seem like a tiny task, but it gives your mind a sense of order and control before the world even tests you. Drinking water first thing in the morning might feel insignificant, but it tells your body you value its needs. Taking a moment to breathe deeply before rushing into your routine can soften your heart and calm your thoughts. These little choices may not look powerful on their own, but when repeated daily, they become a lifestyle. And a lifestyle becomes a destiny. A powerful truth is that habits shape identity. The person who takes 5 minutes every morning for reflection becomes calm. The person who reads Quran, even for a short moment, grows spiritually. The person who walks after Fajr builds strength and presence. The person who writes a small gratitude list begins to see life differently. You don't become patient by accident. You don't become wise by chance. You don't become successful overnight. You become all of these through habits, small, consistent, repeated habits that build you silently from the inside out. Many people wake up feeling overwhelmed because they start their mornings with chaos. They rush, they panic, they stress, they scatter their thoughts, and by the time they step out of their home, they've already lost the inner battle. Yet the difference between a troubled day and a productive day can simply be a routine that brings stability. When you build a morning with structure, you build a life with direction. When you build a morning with discipline, you build a heart with strength. And when you build a morning with worship and intention, you build a soul that remains firm no matter what challenges come. The beauty of small habits is that you don't need to start with something grand. Even a tiny step can become a foundation. You don't have to pray extra units of prayer for an hour every morning. Start with 2 minutes of dhikr. You don't need to read an entire chapter of Quran. Read a single verse and let it sit in your heart. You don't have to run a marathon. Take a 2-minute walk to stretch your body. You don't need to sit and plan your entire future. Just write down what you want to achieve for the day. When you build simple habits, consistency becomes possible. And consistency is far more powerful than intensity. The morning is the best time for habit building because the mind is fresh, the heart is open, and distractions have not yet taken over. It is easier to build discipline when your mind is calm than when it is tired at the end of the day. Even science shows that habits created in the morning are more likely to stick. But beyond science, there is something spiritual about mornings. Blessings descend, angels witness, and the heart carries a softness that allows positive actions to settle inside it. When you build good habits in the morning, you are not only restructuring your routine, you are reshaping your soul. One of the most damaging thoughts a person can have is believing that small actions don't matter. They do. They always have. great scholars, great leaders, great believers, none of them became who they were through giant leaps. They became great through daily discipline, through small acts of worship, through quiet consistency, through habits that build strength over years. Your life changes when your mornings change, and your mornings change when your habits change. The person who begins the day with intention is already ahead of the person who allows the day to control them. The person who builds small habits at dawn is building a strong identity. The person who repeats these habits daily becomes unstoppable. Success is not about doing everything perfectly. It is about repeating what benefits your mind, body, and soul. Once you understand that small habits build your future, you will treat every morning with more seriousness, more gratitude, and more purpose. Because in the end, it is not the big decisions that create the biggest transformations. It is the small ones you make quietly every single morning, long before the world wakes up.